Hi everyone, welcome to the Impendus Placement Testing Micro Workshop. This is Olga from Impendus, and today I'll be teaching you how to check the average timing to progress between CFR levels, the CEFR Fluency and Accuracy indicators, and how to label and categorize errors. The first activity will teach you how to understand the timeframes necessary to move from one level to another. As you can see here on this chart, in the top graph, you'll see we have basic user, independent user, and proficient user. Within those categories, we've got A1 and A2 under basic, B1 and B2 under independent, and C1 and C2 under proficient. As you can see, these hours are approximated. So a person who's at the A1 level will know some basic memorized phrases, and it will take them about 60 to 80 hours approximately in order to get to that level. Next, A2, we'll expect students to be able to talk a little bit more about their social context and to get to that level when they're able to use adverbs, a little bit of present continuous, beginning to get into past simple, exploring a little bit of verb tenses. That takes typically about 200 hours. At the independent user section, B1 and B2, it takes anywhere from 380 to 600 to get through the independent user phase. Some students move through this rather quickly, and others tend to plateau at the B2 level. Next, we've got the proficient user category, which is C1 and C2. Now, C1 is considered operational proficiency at the global level. So most companies that require an English level in order to do business will require a C1 level. C2 is when a student has acquired mastery and complete fluency, where they can interact with any kind of text, whether it be technical or academic, but that is not to say that they're necessarily a native speaker. However, maybe they might have an accent, or maybe they might make a couple of errors on prepositions, but in general, a C2 level student could study in a graduate program, can write marketing materials, and do all sorts of things that native speakers can do to a very high level of fluency. As you can see in the chart at the bottom, you'll see that from A1 to C2, it takes more or less 1,000 hours. Again, these are approximations, depending on if the student has learned another language in the past, if they were bilingual growing up, how close the target language that they're learning is to the language that they already speak, also their confidence, their age, how many other things that they have going on at the moment, etc. All of those things can influence it, but approximately you can use this chart as a reference. Activity 2, identifying and labeling accuracy and fluency indicators according to the CFR. Here, what I'd like you to do is carefully read these fluency indicators and identify the main differences between the levels. You'll see here that there is the A levels considered basic. You've got the complete beginner at A1, and A2 is elementary. At the A1 CFR level, a language learner can understand and use very basic expressions to satisfy concrete needs. They can introduce themselves and ask others questions about personal details. They can interact simply as long as the other person speaks slowly and clearly and is willing to help. At the elementary level, A2, there is still a big strain on any speaker that might engage with the elementary level student. However, they are starting to learn a little bit more vocabulary. An A2 student can understand frequently used expressions in most intermediate areas, such as shopping, family, employment, etc. They can complete tasks that are routine and involve a direct exchange of information, such as school, family, or work. And they can also describe matters of immediate need in simple terms. B-level students are becoming independent users. At the B1 level, which is the lower level of B1, there can be a B1, B1 plus, B2, B2 low, and B2 high. At the B1 level, which is about an average, a language learner can understand points regarding family, work, school, as well as hobbies and leisure-related topics. They can deal with most travel situations in areas where the language is spoken. Additionally, they can create simple texts on topics of personal interest, and they can describe experiences, events, dreams, and ambitions, as well as opinions or plans in brief. A B2 upper intermediate student, however, can take those categories and expand them. You'll see that their accuracy improving on the topics that a B1 level student can talk about. They can talk about it with more detail, more depth. At the B2 CFR level, a language learner can understand the main ideas of a complex text, such as a technical piece related to their field. They can also spontaneously interact without too much strain for either the learner or the native speaker, although they may make mistakes in pronunciation or grammar. They can also produce a detailed text on a wide range of subjects. Lastly, we've got the C levels. These are proficient user levels. As mentioned before, C1 is the world-renowned, globally known level of operational proficiency in business. At the C1 CFR level, a language learner can understand a wide range of longer and more demanding texts or conversations, express ideas without too much searching, effectively use the language for social, academic, or professional situations, and create well-structured and detailed texts on complex topics with limited errors. At the C2 proficiency level, a language learner can understand almost everything read or heard with ease. They can summarize information from a variety of sources into a coherent presentation, and they can express themselves using precise meaning in complex scenarios. Let's take a look at some CFR level questions that you'll see speaking prompts for. In this activity, you'll have about 5 to 15 seconds to look at the section and identify what these questions are, or what level these questions are targeting. So here, beneath the orange bar, as soon as you've read the questions, in about 10 to 15 seconds after thinking, you will see what level it is. But try to guess before I show you the answer. So if you're having following speaking prompts about appearance and character, weather, shopping, sports, and exercise. Tell me about your best friend. Describe his appearance. What's the weather like today? Which is your favorite season? What weather makes you feel happy or sad? Do you enjoy shopping? How often do you go shopping? How much exercise do you do? Is exercise important? Why or why not? What level do you think this is? Could it be A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2? Would you just put it as elementary or intermediate? Take a moment and think, and I will show you the answer in 15 seconds. Okay, let's reveal the answer. If you guessed B1 pre-intermediate, you're right. We've got some past tense in there. We've got a couple of more advanced questions, but it is still fairly basic. Let's look at the next section. The next section, how closely do you follow the news? Which media covers the best news? Why do people choose to live in cities? What are the disadvantages of city life? How do we affect nature? How does nature affect us? Will problems such as pollution or endangered species ever be solved? Do you often mix with people from a different culture to yours? Do you like or dislike this? What are the benefits and or problems of a multicultural society? This section is asking about news and media, cities, man and nature, society and culture. Take 15 seconds to see if you can guess what level this is for. All right, let's take a look at the answer. If you guessed C1 advanced, you are right. Let's move on to the next one. This section talks about personal information, family, home, studies, and work. Basic questions like what's your name? Where is your house? Is your house big, beautiful, noisy, or clean? What job do you want to do? What do you study? Take 15 seconds to review the questions and see if you can guess the level. All right, let's reveal the answer. If you guessed elementary A2, then you're correct. Let's go on to the next one. In the next section, we're asking about food, animals, computers and gadgets, and languages. Do you usually eat healthy meals? What is some of your favorite food? Do you like eating out? Why not? Do you like cooking? Do you like animals? Do you often use computers? What languages do you speak? Take a few seconds to review the questions in this section and take a guess at what level this could be for. You'll have 15 seconds. All right, if you guessed intermediate B1, you're correct. You just have one more and then we will be done with the activity. Okay, so the last one. We have questions on travel, crime, careers, art, books, and music. Questions like, do you like to travel? Does travel broaden the mind? Is crime a problem in this country? What kind of career do you want? Should a career be the most important thing in someone's life? How often do you listen to music? Are art, music, etc. important to society? Take 15 seconds to review the questions and take a guess at what level this could be for. You'll have 15 seconds, beginning now. All right, so if you guessed upper intermediate, B2 low, you are correct. How did you do? Next up, let's take a quick look at some accuracy indicators. Here, you'll be able to see some accuracy indicators along with the CEFR. As you learned in the previous training, the CEFR is a framework that is used to measure languages. And the CEFR is a common one used by Cambridge all over the world. You'll see that each category has certain grammar points that are usually identified, taught, and focused on in order to move along the accuracy indicators. Take a few moments, pause the screen, and read these accuracy indicators to determine the differences in level. What is somebody learning at A1 before they can learn the next topic in A2? What do you see is repeated between B1 and B2? Pause this video now, read through this, and then move to the next section. Okay, so now let's move on to labeling errors. In this section, what we're going to do is look at the 5 student errors in this box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the left, and you're going to try to categorize the errors and give them a label, as well as determine what CEFR level this error type usually falls into. Don't worry if you don't get it right, and don't worry if you have to reference the previous indicators on the CEFR accuracy chart. That's okay. This is just meant to spur some thought, test what you've learned so far, and see how quickly or easily the answers come to you, as well as if you need to learn a little bit more about what to call the different grammar terms. Okay, so can you guess these 6 errors in a minute? Your minute begins now. All right, so your minute is up. Let's see how you did. So, the first error, Chapinero neighborhood, is a wordiness error. Of course, if you're not from Bogota, you wouldn't know that Chapinero is a neighborhood. You'd probably wondering, what is Chapinero? But since you know that it's a capitalized word, it would be a noun. So you wouldn't really need to have noun, noun together. So that could be either noun, noun error, or in our case, a wordiness error. Either way, we'd look at it as a B1 error. I prove a new restaurant. Here, probar in Spanish means to test. So this is a false cognate error, also at the B1 level. Next, we have will and can back to back. As you know, we cannot have two auxiliaries back to back. This is considered an auxiliary error as well as a future error, also at the B1 level. Next, we have a very common error that comes from Latin American learners. I am agree, I am not agree. That comes from the Spanish, which is de acuerdo, which is yo estoy, I am, de acuerdo, I am agree. They're translating directly. So this is an auxiliary error that you should not have the auxiliary there. It should just be I agree, I don't agree. Finally, we've got I need to preparing the lunch. This is a gerunds and infinitives error at the A2 level. Did you get those? Don't worry if you didn't. This is just meant to get you ready. And if you did, then looks like you're already ready. Either way, we wanted to show you the sample exercise to get that brain working so you can get an idea of where you need to pick up in order to properly placement test our future students. Here, in the final section, we're going to look at some more error familiarization. On the left, you'll see some error categories. Man, man's men, child, children's children. People is an are. I didn't went. Did you met? We talk different. Is hot outside. Because is a tradition. Can you name these errors? So the first error is irregular plurals. The second one, subject-verb agreement. The third one, simple past tense and use of auxiliaries. The fourth one, adverbs to qualify verbs. And the fifth one is omitting it as a subject. This is another example of a way to label errors without necessarily needing to use the CEFR, but rather just labeling them according to what grammar rule is being broken. Well, congrats. This concludes our placement testing micro workshop, so you're done for the day. Next steps, please review the CEFR as well as the grammar that you should know at the different levels and start learning some of the grammar terminology so you can take the next portion of our workshop and grade an actual real-life placement test according to the tips and skills that we gave you in this workshop. And then following that, be able to extend and suggest some hours of study. Until then, I leave you and I wish you a wonderful day. Olga from Impendus signing off. Cheers!